Hi everyone, this is Linda G. Robert, your solution lady, your coach and teacher with some more tips. In the last few weeks, I have been doing more and more work online. I was sharing in an earlier podcast that I've left my job, full-time job, which meant, driving every day to go to work, and I now work online. I'm a teacher and I think it's great. It's feels so good to know that I'm helping some students learn and practice English. So on the one hand, it feels great. On the other hand, I've been having to go on my computer and check my telephone a lot. So I've noticed that since I've been, using my phone more and more and more, I'm becoming quite dependent on it. And sometimes we have to depend on it for work. For example, I've got my calendar that I'm using. I have my telephone, I have my messages, I've got Skype, the app Skype, and I have other apps that are related to work as well. But it's gotten me thinking, I used to use the computer before. Of course, I've always used the computer, and in the last few years I've been using the phone. But now that my job is mostly online, I'm having to use my phone and my computer a lot more. And I can't tell you how many hours I'm on the computer a day or on the phone a day. But what I can tell you is that I'm aware that I am nearly obsessed with it. And I've heard some people talk about that. They're always checking their messages. Well, I'm doing that. I'm checking my messages. I'm checking my calendar to see, what's next, because I have classes that are scheduled back to back. So it's always having to think of the phone or the computer. And I know I'm not the only one. That's why I'm doing a video. I know that this is the world that we now live in, especially with the possibility of doing work from home, even if you have a brick and mortar type of business, or you work for a brick and mortar type of business, and you can go to work physically every day. You can also work from home. There's a lot of digital nomads that work around the world and that sometimes depend on their phones and computers, access to the internet, to be able to do their work and make a living. I know I'm one of them right now. That's my goal, right? That's the reason I started taking these courses, so that I could start being a better teacher of English as a second language, and eventually start teaching English online so that it can go anywhere. So, this is the world we live in. We have the possibilities of living anywhere we want, as long as we're connected to the internet. But of course, that means having to have a good Wi-Fi, also having to have the technology that goes with it, telephone or laptop. So this isn't so much about the technology. It's more about needing to know when you need to take a break, to disconnect. Because I've noticed it now. I'm getting tired more. I have the obsession, in the sense of checking my messages, make sure I'm not missing anything. So it is suggesting to me that I need to, and it's a need, not a want. I need to disconnect, and I need to close my eyes and simply be. And this is where mindfulness comes in. I've had a few other videos on mindfulness, but this one in particular is to tell you about some of the benefits of mindfulness. I'm just going to keep this brief. So when I'm practicing mindfulness, first of all, isn't just meditation. It is being in the moment. For example, when I'm teaching, I'm with my students. I'm not fidgeting on my phone, because I wouldn't be mindful if I'd be doing that. So that multitasking means I might be checking my messages, but my attention is not directly on my students, for example. So those are things to be aware of. That's not being mindful. Being mindful is being in this present moment and paying attention to what might be in front of me. It might be a client. Paying attention to perhaps the thoughts that I have, if that's what the practice is going to be. Paying attention to the breath and being aware that there might be some thoughts that go by. And it's really being right here, right now, in this very, very moment. Not preoccupied by the phone, not preoccupied by the computer, by what's coming up next. Just being right here, right in this very moment. So I thought it would be interesting to do a 2-minute mindfulness practice. You know, I've noticed that in between my classes, sometimes I have an hour break. And of course, the schedule is up to me. I can schedule my time accordingly. But when I do have an hour break in between classes, I want to go and just relax. Now, there's always other things I could be doing, for sure. But I find that sometimes it's very, very useful to take just a break. And sometimes I'll meditate or just take a break and rest for 30 minutes. It's just enough to, for me to feel better again, for me to feel a little bit more energized and not preoccupied. So in this video, we're going to do just 2 minutes and just want to simply do some breathing so we can concentrate on our breath. And if we have any thoughts that go in and out, just letting them go, not paying that much attention to them, not judging them, not getting obsessed with those thoughts, just allowing them to just float on by and then go back to the breathing. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to set my timer. I'm also using my iPhone for that too. All right, let's start, and we're going to get a little bell when it rings. So this is just for 2 minutes. And I will invite you to close your eyes if you're comfortable in closing your eyes, and to simply concentrate on your breathing, feeling the air go in through your nose and out. And we don't need to worry about doing a deep breath right now. We're simply breathing. Just breathing. And if you have any thoughts that go in, just allow them to go in and out without paying any attention to those thoughts. You'll notice your breath sometimes goes a bit deeper, and sometimes it's just a small breath. That's normal. Just pay attention to your breathing. Just notice how this breath is. You might notice the sensations that you feel. I find that when I'm meditating, I notice twitches and notice itches and other sensations in my body. But otherwise, I wouldn't be noticing them because I'm preoccupied with something else. That was 2 minutes. So that was a 2-minute mindfulness meditation. It wasn't that long, but it's just enough to give you the sense of peacefulness that you might need. So every now and then during your day, Take some time off. And, I was using my phone, but it doesn't have to be a phone. It could be especially when we're trying to disconnect from the phone, it could be an egg timer. It could be simply going, sitting down on a nice comfortable chair outside and just doing nothing but sitting. So if you do work a lot online, this is going to be really helpful to schedule some time away from the computer, away from the phone, completely disconnect. Because I think we need to do that every now and then during our day, so that when we do come back to work, because it requires a lot of concentration, the type of work we might do requires a lot of concentration, and so you want to be as alert as possible. And if it's just the adrenaline that gets you going, at the end of the day, you're dead. You're so dead. So take some breaks during the day for stretching, especially if you're sitting at the computer a lot, and moving your arms. These are mindful movements. And we can do this standing up, of course, as well. And to simply close your eyes and just breathe, even if it's just 2 minutes. All right, so that's it. This is Linda G. Robert, your solution lady, your coach, and your teacher, with that wonderful tip to take time off, disconnect once in a while. For more information on my services, please go to my website, lindagrobert.com. You can also send me an email at linda@lindagrobert.com, as well as subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thanks. Bye for now.